Welcome to another installment of Don't Bother Wearing Seatbelts on Bored Music Geek Radio and the podcast app of your choosing. In this episode, we're talking to the band Giant Day about their exceptional new album, Alarm, to be released on the 10th of October, 2025, on the Elephant Six recording company Imprint.
Oh, hi.
Take two.
Hey, Patrick. Hi, by the way.
Good to see
Haven't
you.
seen you in a while. How you been doing?
How you been? I'm great, thank you.
Good.
Good to see you.
When Matthew told me we were going to be talking to this band Giant Day, I had some loose familiarity, but I was just like, all right, this is good. This will be okay. This will be cool. And then he forwarded me an advance copy of the new album, and I'll just have to say that I was completely blown away. I was just like, holy fucking shit, this is an amazing album. This was the middle of July when he sent it to me, and I was like already prepared to call it my album of the year. I have a lot of questions about what water you were drinking or what cereal you were drinking.
It's very specific water. That is actually.
We really do have a different one.
We have our own spring house, so our water is not available anywhere else in the world.
Wow, there you go.
Yeah, it's free. It's free.
I didn't know that, but I've seen the house that you guys put together, and my God, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You've got like 74 acres.
Yeah, tell us about that, because it's not that long ago that you guys had moved out of Athens.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I wanted to ask you, because it seems to an outsider who's paying attention, at least, God, how do I want to say this? Your prolificness, since you moved out of a town where everybody wants you to play on every one of their albums, seems to have shot way up.
Yeah, that's.
You moved away, and now you're putting out albums like every 12 months.
Yeah, I don't think
Really
that's
great ones.
I don't think that's a real. Yeah, that's not a mystery. It's totally true. I mean, like when I was in Athens, at least for me, my part of it, like, yeah, I mean, I'm perpetual sideman, doing a million things, I'm working sound jobs. I was working at 3 clubs doing sound. I was helping, maintain sound systems at like smaller bars and stuff like that. Playing in lots of different bands, playing in cover bands, playing in stupid fun bands too, as well as like stuff people have heard.
Running your own studio.
And well, yeah, I rarely do that, but yeah, and mixing for Heather and soundtrack stuff and mastering, you know what I mean? Just like doing a million things.
Touring job.
Yeah. And moving up here, like it really it cut all that stuff drastically. I mean, I still do remote stuff for Heather and do mastering stuff and occasionally go do touring sound now, but that's drastically cut back too. So yeah, there's not really anything else to do but just work on this project.
If that's the case, I almost wish that you had cut your workload some time ago, because these albums are amazing.
Thank you. That's so cool.
You've always been like the Athens secret weapon, that you were just passed from one band to the next to make sure that they had what they needed to make an amazing album. It would be easier to name the bands that you aren't in and that you weren't a part of than to try to go, you were in the Glands.
Yeah.
Like it's
I
incredible.
was not in the Apples in Stereo.
No.
I was not in Neutral Milk Hotel.
REM never called.
REM never called me.
No.
You're a little late for the REM party.
What about the B-52s?
B-52s, never got into that band.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice people.
Yeah.
But they never came calling.
The thing I think most incredible, and I do think that's really cool that you guys have gotten to be, focus on your partnership and your relationship and making this band kind of be prolific last few years. But it's also like, that's why I wanted to ask, is it a thing about getting out of a place where you're so busy, or is this new geography inspiring you as well?
It's definitely both. I guess I would say during the pandemic, like the beginning days of the pandemic, but also, year of 2020, like we were all at home and I think I was maybe on the slightly more paranoid spectrum of that. Like we really didn't leave.
No.
You know what I mean? But, meanwhile, downtown Athens, people are getting shot with rubber bullets at protests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Let's just say that's not happening here.
No, there was kind of an
in this part of the
incident.
country.
Yeah.
For a little context.
Yeah.
That's a big part of it. Beautiful / bleak winter.
When all those leaves are stripped away and you've got that gray sky and white just everywhere. I could see that being very bleak, but in a very beautiful way as well.
Yeah, this last record is such a winter record. I mean, first of all,
Yeah.
we made it almost entirely in winter.
Yeah.
We finished it up in early spring, but summer doesn't come here until like mid-June.
Yeah, we live in a valley, so we already shave off like 30 minutes of sunlight in the morning and the night.
Oh, sure.
So
Yeah.
the winters, I mean, I don't know exactly where all you guys live, but I assume you're not Southerners?
No, I'm in Michigan.
That was rude, Derek.
What? Was it rude?
Was it?
Was it to presume not? So you know the deal.
Wait, is the presumption that if we're not Southerners, we're somehow less?
Well, that's what my grandmother would have said.
Oh yeah, here we go.
That's fine. I can agree with that.
Take a load for free.
But yeah, I mean, this is the first time I've ever lived up north. So, Rick, really. So,
Yeah.
it's a pretty drastic change. But I mean, I got to say, like having the studio, like I, in a weird way, kind of look forward to the winter. It's because it really clarifies. It's like I have a very, like really normal schedule and a work day. Like I wake up every morning, I have breakfast, I play guitar for a little bit, think about song ideas, come down to the studio, work for like 8 hours, And I never could do that at home. I mean, it wasn't even until the pandemic that I could like go to bed at a regular schedule,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm
Go
sure a
to
lot of
clubs.
people are like that.
Yeah.
I have a real quick question. Where are you guys? I know you're up north, but
So
that's
we're
all
we're 10 miles north of the Maryland-Pennsylvania border, and like central toward the west in the Allegheny Mountains, to be specific.
Yeah.
So south central Pennsylvania. But it's sort of culturally, I would say it's more like West Virginia, than Pennsylvania. Like it's not really Yinzer country, I guess you'd say. But Yinzer country is very close.
What
It's
Mhm.
more West Virginia.
what brought you guys
It's
there?
Altoona pizza country.
No.
What brought you guys there? Did you just get this opportunity with the studio, or what took you out of Athens?
Yeah, well, it's a family farm from my family. I lived here when I was in high school and middle school. When my dad retired from the Air Force, he bought this farm to retire to because he is from Cumberland, Maryland, which is kind of our nearest town. So my mom was living here, and it was just getting to a point where it was a little bit too much house to handle. So it was sort of, we came to a point during the pandemic where, you know, you don't know what's
Working in the
going on.
entertainment
I lost
industry.
my job because of the pandemic, and I didn't know if it was going to come back. And mom was basically like, I'm going to have to sell the farm unless y'all can take it over. And so we just, let's just do it.
Yeah, this
we'd
is
always
like a
wanted to,
family
but
ripcord situation.
yeah,
You know,
we moved here. Yeah.
but I think we should clarify that it is not a farm.
Oh yeah,
Like we are not farming.
it's a retired farm.
It is a farmhouse.
You're producing a lot of music, so it's kind of a sound farm now.
Ooh, sound farm.
Sound farm.
I'm still looking for a good studio name.
Yeah.
So we'll put that on the list.
It is
There we go.
the sound garden. Yes.
How about the
There's a
sound
nice ring to it.
garden?
Boo.
Huh? Huh? I'm full of good ideas today.
But no, some of the acres are farmed, but not by us.
Yeah, we have
rent it
a.
out
I mean,
to
we
neighbor.
we have a neighbor who is like a legitimate farmer, and it's weird because Emily like went to school with him.
We're cousins. Really distant.
cousins.
Really distant.
But he rents half of the acreage and farms it. So farming is happening around us, but we're not involved.
Yeah. Right now, he's got corn and soy and hay. He's a beef farmer, so he just grows feed for his cattle.
Yeah, and I think he sells it too. I
He
think
puts
it's kind of a part
excess.
of the. I think a lot of American farms make like essentially like feed soy and feed corn and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But
He was selling it to China. Our daughter's doing it now.
yeah, I'm curious. We haven't had a long talk. We don't see him very often, but when we do see him, it's always like he's passing by on his tractor, and we're like on a walk or something, and we're like, "Hey, and we'll chat for him, and end up like chatting for like 30 minutes, and we'll be like, "Hey, you want to come and have a beer on the porch?" Or whatever. He's like, "No, I don't have any time for that."
Anyway.
And then we'll continue to talk for like 2 hours, just standing there on the
He's
side
got
of the
the
road.
best stories. He knows everything. He's got like this, he's my age, but he has this knowledge of every little thing that ever happened
Yeah.
in this area that's just like genetic. It's like inherited knowledge. He'll be like, oh, well, you know, in 1898, well, you know what Lloyd was like and how he hated that tree. And it's like,
He'll tell stories about
magic.
the people that lived at our farm as if he knew them.
yeah,
It's kind of strange,
yeah,
but great. Yeah.
yeah, it's cool.
It's some sort of passed down. I guess he's just heard all those stories his whole life from his grandparents and everything.
Yeah, and he's tall. He's
Paul.
yeah. he
Yeah.
is.
We
He's
like
tall.
we like to say he's the best farmer in the valley.
He is.
Yes.
Nobody can touch him.
Yeah. It's the best.
Sure.
Yeah.
I smell a concept album in the future.
And now bringing you the latest from the E6 world is Kelly Hart.
We have Kelly on the line, and Kelly, I want to know if you are going to announce a new Olivia Tremor Control record today, or do we have to wait for that?
Well, you're going to have to wait a little longer, but know that it is every day coming a little bit closer to being available to the world.
That's all we wanted to hear. Thank you for that.
Of course.
Now dive into the news. So what's going on in the E6 world?
Well, lots of things. We've got a new album from Giant Day. It's their second album. It's called Alarm, and it will be out on the Elephant Six Recording Company on October 10th. Then we've also got a new record from Great Lakes coming out. It'll be on Happy Happy Birthday to Me, coming out November 7th. And they've already got the pre-order for the vinyl up on their website. So please check out a new record from Ben Crum.
Awesome. And we've talked to both Ben from Great Lakes and Mike from Happy Birthday to me. So stay tuned for those episodes.
And this is an exciting non-music release coming up. It is a book, and it is a biography of the Apples in Stereo, coming out on J-Card Press December 9th of this year. And the pre-order is already up on the J-Card Press website if you want to go look and see some more information about the book there. We'll also eventually have copies on the Elephant Six website in December. But yeah, that's exciting. The first biography of a core Elephant Six member band on its own. It looks like it's kind of done in the style of like a 33 1/3 book. Like it's more like a pocket-sized paperback book.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's exciting.
Very cool. And that is coming out just in time for Christmas for all you Elephant Six fans. What else should people be ordering from Elephant Six for Christmas for their friends and family? Is there any copies of Explanation left? Explanation 2.
Oh yeah, we should talk about that. Thanks to this podcast, there was a reissue of the Olivia Tremor Control Explanation 2. It sold pretty close to selling out almost right away. There are some copies left here at E6 headquarters, but very few. The rest are out in record stores, so don't fret. There should be copies available at record stores still.
That's very cool. And support your favorite indie record stores purchasing Elephant Six records and all the records that you're looking for if you don't get them directly from E6. What else has been going on in the E6 world?
Well, we've got a bunch of concerts coming up in October. Giant Day will be hitting the road in support of their new album, which, like I said, will be out October 10th. They've got a string of dates opening for Black Moth Super Rainbow in the Southeast. And then they'll be doing some shows on their own. That kind of runs from like October 9th through the 23rd. And we'll have all the tour dates on our website, so you can check there to see if they're coming to your town.
Awesome.
The Rishis will be doing a tour in October in the Southeast as well. That runs from October 8th through the 12th. They're going to hit cities like Asheville, Nashville, Memphis, Chattanooga, Birmingham. So again, you can check our website for those. Garment District, Jennifer from the Ladybug Transistor, is also going to be playing in Chicago on Saturday, October 18th at the Windy Pop Weekender. So if you're in the Chicago area, you might want to go check out Garment District. Finally, we also have an announcement that also just came out that there will be a Ladybug Transistor tour in December. And the pre-sale tickets are up now. They will be playing dates in the Northeast, ranging from Maine down to Maryland. And the opening band is Giant Day. Yeah, so it's fun to see the old style Elephant Six touring, because Derek also plays drums in Ladybug Transistor. So, you know, we have that Elephant Six collaborative tour situations.
Double duty for Derek is fine.
Basically. But yeah, that's all I got right now. We've already got more things to announce in November and beyond, so definitely lots of new things coming down the pipeline from Elephant Six.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly, and thank you for keeping the Elephant Six dream alive. Where can people get Elephant Six records if they don't already know?
Well, our website, elephant6.com, has a selection of things. I don't have everything, but I'm working on always trying to make things available there. And of course, you know, check with your local independent record store and see if they can get the titles that you would like.
I'm in your car again. In my head, I'm decades out. You're not as tall as me right now. We're not trading places. Back in your car, back in my head. Oh, the mouth on me, I
So I wanted to ask you, because I hear some rant of various influences, some post-punk, some shoegaze, there's some ambient, there's some electronic, but none of them are like overwhelming. It's still very much its own thing. Earlier, I joked about what kind of cereal you're eating or what water you're drinking. To your perspective, what do you feel are like the big influences musically that led to this really great album?
Thanks again for saying it's really
Yes,
good.
thank
we like
you.
to hear that. You can keep saying that,
I don't think we're going to be able to stop saying it.
but
When I'm not making a record, I eat influences and I listen as much as I can. I've never been like a guy who goes to the record store and like listens to things that I've never heard before and is like, I'm searching for the new thing and I'm going to be the discoverer.
yeah, I always wanted to be that guy.
It's cool,
I'm not.
but like I have friends that are that person
Yeah.
and they filter that stuff to me.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like John Fernandez is a great one. There's, he sent me tons of stuff over the years
Yeah.
and played stuff. He worked at Luxury forever. All kinds of people have always my friend Zach from high school, like all kinds of people like send me stuff and they kind of know me and they know my taste and it kind of builds my arsenal of musical thoughts or whatever. And then when I'm making a record, like I don't try to think about that kind of stuff. Like if I hear something myself doing something, it's funny because when you have to talk about music, you have to say, a lot of people are like, what does it sound like? And what are you doing? And how do I compare this to other things? It's like, if I hear myself doing something too specifically like something else,
You
I will
cut it.
drastically try to turn the lever a different direction. You know what I mean?
All that said, I will say on this whiteboard, you did write 3 names.
Oh yeah. But I don't know if I
For
really
production,
I didn't
right?
really get there like with those concepts. Like when,
But the idea apparently at one point
Yeah.
was Mutt Lange.
well, I wanted,
Yeah.
I wanted Mutt Lange because I wanted to like lots of layering levels of like, I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. It's funny because like when I was planning this record, I really planned for a lot more success in terms of the speed of writing than we had. Because I wrote a shit ton of music. Like I wrote like 33 songs.
Yeah, they're all on the
In the month
record.
when we got home from tour, like in late September, I was like, we were kind of like, okay, well, I guess that's it. There's nothing else to do, so we might as well start working on the next record.
It's winter.
Yeah, and so every day, literally every morning, every day for the month of October, I took like bits from the pile, like guitar parts or keyboard parts or like little things and I wrote a song out of each one for every day of the month.
Wow.
And sometimes two. I'd play them for Emily and she'd be like, that one's too long, and I'd be like, okay, I'll make a quick edit, stuff like that.
It's good to have that honest partner.
Yeah.
No, you need that.
Yeah.
You need someone outside yourself. So got to the end of that month and we're like, oh man, I'm gonna make a double album. And like, I don't write lyrics as I'm going. I'll like write a title and I'll do like music and I'll, essentially kind of write the harmony and rhythmic structure and like sort of baseline ideas and stuff like that. But then got all that done and I was like, we're gonna do a double album and like we're gonna, I thought the lyrics were gonna come really quickly, but like it was, October 2024 going into November 2024. And then, there's maybe some other elements going on in the world that like felt kind of like suppressing and not
Yeah.
super inspiring to be a part of. And, we kind of went into this record, like kind of almost jokingly, like we were making in October and we were like, let's make a record that's like a horror record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we're like,
We were gonna call
we'll
it the
put
horror.
Yeah, we were going to call it the horror.
I
And
thought
we're
it was
like,
too
we'll
jokey.
make like, well, that'll be like our whole like slant on it. And by the end, and we'll make a double album and we'll put it out next October. So it's coming out that right. So that was like the whole concept. But it was hard writing lyrics. It like didn't come together easily.
It's got to do with Mutt Lange.
Well, my point is that like a lot of plans that I had about like the way things were going to go, like I wanted to spend a lot more time doing like dubby elements and like remixing things and like layering other things. Like I didn't really have time.
Well, you do have Lee
I mean, we
Scratch
worked on
Perry
it.
on
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
too.
But like,
Can I say something about Mutt Lange real quick for our listeners?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the listeners who listen to this are probably like E6 fans and they don't know who Mutt Lange is.
sure.
So Mutt Lange, everybody needs to go on Mutt Lange's Wikipedia page and just look up his relationship with his former wife because it's so batshit crazy. Because
I don't really know much about that.
I
my God, you guys, like,
You mean Shania?
yeah. So I am obsessed with people with amazing artists' net worths. And so one day I was looking up Mutt Lange's net worth because I knew it would be a pretty penny. Def Leppard,
It's a great van time killer, by the way.
Def Leppard, Shania Twain, you know the work. But he's a producer, everybody. He's an amazing producer. And he pretty much married Shania's. They had like a friend couple that they would do social things with, and he ended up sleeping with the couple's wife, and
Okay.
then Shania went and married the couple's husband.
It's sort of a beautiful tale.
Oh,
is
you mean
amazing.
that's what ended up happening to their
That's what ended up
relationship?
happening. They like
Balanced.
intersected their relationships,
Well,
and
sounds like it kind of worked out.
so
Yeah, it's nice.
everybody's net worth stays the same.
Oh, that's good.
Except the
that's
couple's
nice.
except
Nice
the couple's
balance.
relationship people. Those people all inherited of like $800 million because they're both their net worths are really good. He's an amazing producer, E6 fans who don't know Mutt Lange. But I love that you put his name up there because it's like a feeling. You're maybe not trying to sound like his
No way.
but it's
Mutt
like
Lange's definitely a feeling.
the vibe.
Okay. Well, what I think of when I think of him, and this is something Will and I would talk about in the day, is like or the thing I like about, and other people too, but like it's the Def Leppard stuff. It's the concept that like those Def Leppard records, like they're not like those they're like built and stacked, and it's like the guitar player playing like one or two notes, and then it's like layered and layered and layered, and then it creates this thing that is supposed to sound like one guitar, but it's like this huge massive structure. Now, point is I did not do that. I didn't get around to it.
And people don't realize this. Now you would
Yeah.
realize it because you're a producer and you're a musician. And the thing that's so interesting about you and what you bring to the table and why you were in every other band in Athens is because you can play any instrument, right? And you're the type of well, I mean, you can play drums very well. You're the best bass player I've ever seen. You're a guitar player. You can do keyboard things. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's like you, from a producer standpoint, you're kind of like a Jeff Lynne. You can kind of bring anything to the table, right? And so when you are that one person who can kind of play everything, it kind of fits that mold of a Mutt Lange thing of building and building,
Sure.
building and building. And people don't realize like that's kind of what Butch Vig was doing with Smashing Pumpkins, or like Nirvana. And so when everybody was like, oh, grunge and you know, like indie, you know, commercial rock of the early 90s, everybody was like, oh, it's such a departure from, you know, like hair metal. Well, it wasn't really a departure from like production standards of like Def Leppard. Def Leppard was just putting a huge snare drum with a lot of reverb on it. That sounds incredible.
I mean, I guess it's like the story of like the studio changing from something that like, I mean, you know, like think about the records, the millions and millions of dollars that were spent on records. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy to think about. And I guess grunge was like a kind of a like, oh, we're gonna go back to the idea of like a band knowing their songs and not being able to afford a lot of studio time, and then going back in and recording it in 3 days, including mixing, right? Like, and that was the reality that certainly you and I grew up when, you know, when we were coming back into recording, it was like still a little gatekeeped, right? Like there was still like studios and there was home recording, and the divide was much more drastic in terms of quality than it is now.
Sure.
But I mean, I grew up during the, 70s and 80s, and like everything I grew up, I mean, you know, when I fell in love with music, it was because my parents didn't want to hear that top 40 shit. So I had to listen to everything on headphones. And, you know, that was Michael Jackson's Thriller and Daryl Hall and John Oates and like, you know, all that kind of early 80s top 40 stuff, which is all hyper $1 million, super expensive, layered productions. You know what I mean? And so I love that shit. That's what I want to create. And it's kind of weird when we came up to be, I feel like that's like a weird central crux of like a lot of Elephant Six stuff, is it's like a meshing of those two moments. It's like punk bands that can't afford anything that wanted to make music based on that generation of hyper constructed studio stuff. You know what I mean? So you get this weird, we always call it mid-fi. You know what I mean? It's like, it's hi-fi, but also lo-fi. You know what I mean? It's like,
Talked a lot about it on this podcast. I think it's the thing that makes those records timeless, because the amount, what maybe you didn't have in studio equipment or great rooms, or, oh my gosh, this compressor, that compressor, whatever, you took the time to make it magical. You know what I mean? Whether it's like all the way back from like a Montreal cherry peel, you know, to the circulatory records, to the Neutral Milk stuff that Robert produced or whatever. It doesn't really matter what kind of that you can tell there was a lot of time invested in it.
sure.
And I think that's what makes these records timeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Get somebody like you who's actually like reading the manual of how this console works, or
Yeah, actually reading the manual might be literally the dividing line between me
is.
and
I think
everyone else I know.
I mean, no, I think that is the one thing, and you won't remember, but because
Okay.
it was like a thing because I'm a fan. One time Derek was in Ames, Iowa, playing with Circulatory System, and you were talking to, and of course, like me and my friends were all there, and you know, like you guys stayed at my house, and
Were you playing?
yeah, Poison Control Center opened.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I remember that show.
But you guys stayed at my house, and you guys were just, you know, Circulatory System and the instruments and Pipes You See, Pipes You Don't. We're all kind of
Yeah.
Okay.
We did that tour
Yeah.
as each other's backing bands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you guys are just like all just talking as friends and collaborators and stuff, and I'm like listening to everything. And I don't know if it was Pete or somebody had gotten an amp or something or whatever, and you were like, well, let's get the manual out and we'll read it like in the van. And like to me, like that was like, I'm like, oh my
I never
God.
would have considered doing
People
that.
read things. People read those things. Like people read, and then it like clicked on me, and I was like, oh, that's why Derek can play those bass lines on the Sunshine Fix record. That's why the things that he produces like has like that extra, like he's reading the manuals. But he's also being creative. But like in a band like Circulatory System, I doubt Will has ever read a manual.
No.
But so you have
He's definitely got manuals that were laying around.
yeah, well, sure.
He
You have
colored
that-
on them.
Stained with any
Yeah.
number of
Yeah.
things.
They became art.
So
Yeah.
you have that guy who's just going like just reaching for the magic or whatever, right?
Sure.
And like going and getting it. And then you have that person who can like kind of help him get there. Because like you've also can leave room for the magic, but also have read the manual.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so like I grew up doing art. I was just really quickly, I want to say something about that because this is interesting to me. Like I grew up, you know, doing visual art and was really into drawing and all that kind of stuff. And I went, you know, I thought I was what I wanted to be when I was young was like a comic book artist. You know what I mean? Until I was like 14, 15, and then the guitar really set in or whatever. But like, I remember being in art class and like, you know, 16, 17, and like I lived in Manassas, Virginia growing up, and it's like right next to DC. So we would go to the National Gallery every year as like a field trip, right? And I remember going to those museums and just being like, man, I don't have this. I don't like what I like. I don't know how to create. I don't get how to get from being able to draw something that looks like something to something that actually is incredibly beautiful and magical that is not representative of anything. And at the same time, like I was also deep in like music study at school. Like I had like an independent study course where I literally had the band room to myself with like the music teacher, and I would just go around and play different instruments. I had like an elective that I created, and it was really great. But like, so I am that kind of person that likes all the technical stuff, you know what I mean? But I always am like, how do I balance this with a naivete? You know what I mean? And being joining in with like the Elephant Six crew, really, and seeing the way like Will made art and Jeff made art and Kevin and all kinds of people. It was coming. I mean, Kevin is kind of different because he like, I think kind of got going like learning Beatles songbooks. So like he knows a lot more chords than necessarily than other people would, but like
He's a bit more technical, yeah.
but it's still kind of coming from a naive perspective. And I was coming from like a sort of half like overly technical perspective, but I always like tried to stay like half ignorant or something, if that makes sense. So like that's kind of like a whole part of like the way I think about stuff.
Room for the magic.
Half instinct, half knowledge or something. You know?
And making sure that the knowledge doesn't turn into muscle memory and just become something that's already been done.
Right.
That's the goal. I don't know if it always works, but that's the hope.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I think you guys do it beautifully. Especially, you know, this new album is such a standout. Like I can't imagine that you guys put out this album and it doesn't garner some like real attention.
Well, that'd be nice, huh?
Well, yeah, that would be.
One of the questions that I have, you basically converted this living space on a very large chunk of land into a studio. It's like a Connie Plank, you know, the birth of krautrock sort of situation. You know, I mean, kind of to go back what Matthew just said, is this the beginning of something similar to that? I don't know. But if you could just explain what's the situation, I mean, that's
the studio?
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be great to have that essentially part of your house, even though it's detached, but it's there.
Yeah, it was built as a 3-car garage in the 30s, as best I can tell.
But the
And-
farm has been around. Why don't you give them a little context?
Well, the farm was
The layout.
it was first a farm in like 1790, and then the farmhouse was finished in about 1850. But there's like an old house that's the basement, and then the modern house that was built in 1850 or finished in 1850. But yeah, so the garage, this garage is how far away from the house is it? I'm bad with it.
About 7,500 feet.
Yeah, and when I was a kid, we kept horses in it, and it's now.
But it was a 3-car garage.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of like small outbuild. There's like
outbuildings,
9
yeah.
buildings.
Got barns and
You know.
milk house because it was a dairy farm.
I'm trying to imagine
Um,
how big a 3-car garage from the 1930s would actually be, because man, those cars were huge.
I mean,
It's pretty
this
big.
room is like 25 by 22
Yeah,
feet,
and there's
20
another
something like
bay
that,
that's
you know. And then
not-
there's another bay. Yeah, there's a third bay that is actually just still a garage area that's past.
Aren't the measurements of this 666?
Well, yes.
Oh, shit.
Interestingly, the
Yeah.
estimate of the internal square footage of this studio is 666.
Fucking rock and roll, man.
Yeah, man. Metal as fuck.
Think about
Yeah,
it.
666. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And
shit.
the best part about it is that we've got a little trout pond behind.
Oh yeah,
My trout thing.
yeah.
The
Emily,
bald eagles are trying to eat them, and it's very depressing.
yeah, we do have bald eagles, but
They're a menace.
we got a lot of nature here. Like across the way from us, there's these 2 huge ponds that are. I mean, it used to be.
Wetlands.
It's like the low-lying part of the valley, and it used to be pasture, but it would always flood, so they turned it into actual like migratory bird ponds. So like we kind of overlook this like beautiful wild nature zone. And then and then uphill is like the farmland that the other guy is using. But we're sort of like right smack dab in the middle. And Emily's always been an aquarium person, and now she has like this kind of, I don't know, big pond that's like right off the deck behind the studio. She's got full of rainbow trout
It's great. You
that
just
live there
step
all
up
year
there, you're on a
round.
covered porch, and you throw feed right off of it into the.
They're able to
trout pond.
live there all year round because it's the runoff from the spring house, which is always 57 degrees, 365.
Really?
So they have
Lots
this like kind of magic space, even in the winter. They're happy. So
So how does it feel to be living the dream?
Well, it can be a little lonely.
What's next?
Yeah, we don't. The nearest town, Bedford, is 12 miles north.
Yeah.
And there's grocery store, etc. It's very small. And then Cumberland, Maryland is about the same, 15 miles south. And there's actually a little college town called Frostburg, Maryland, that's like 15 minutes beyond Cumberland to the west. And there's
some young bands that are cool and like
it's a venue.
nice
We
people.
played twice.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. We didn't think we'd ever play anywhere in the region. I mean, it's an hour drive.
Yeah.
But for here,
Well, 45 minutes each way.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it's called Patience is the name of well, it was never a village, but it used to be a Pony Express stop, not at our farm, but at a farm about a mile north. And so this was the Patience stop. So that's why if you open your phone and take a picture, it says you are in Patience, Pennsylvania, which is cute. And it's well named.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of names, I was wondering what brought you to the final decision for the band name. Obviously, The Giant Day was the second Olivia Tremor Control EP. Was it, like for your love of having been in Olivia Tremor Control, or just tell us what?
Yeah. Well, so we only started this project because the Ladybug Transistor, who Derek plays drums with these days, called Derek up and asked him if he could open for a show in Pittsburgh for them at the Andy Warhol Museum. And he's
in 2023.
In November of 2023.
Yeah.
So, and he was like, well, let's put something together. And so that's where we started. And we're like, well, we need a name. So who names bands? And Will Hart's the one who names bands.
Well, okay, so there's a kind of classic Elephant Six tradition of having the other person, having someone else name your band. You know what I mean? Like, what was the original? The Neutral Milk Hotel's original name, I think, was going to be Biscuit.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken. But like, Will named, if I remember correctly,
yes,
it was like
Will
band
named
names.
Neutral Milk Hotel, and
and Jeff named Olivia, right? Yeah, exactly. Right. So, but like, so in that spirit, and Will was very much, like, we were good buddies, and like we would talk all the time, and I definitely like considered him like a cheerleader for my own stuff. Like he was like always like really encouraging. So like, I reached out to him. I was like, give us some band names.
Yeah, he came up with some nice ones. And what was one?
Okay, so we ended up down to a vote between two.
Yeah,
and we like put it out to other people.
Metal Mother.
No. Mercury Mother.
Mercury Mother.
And I liked that one. I actually kind of liked it more.
Well,
and Emily preferred Giant Day. So
yeah,
we put it to a vote, and Giant Day won.
20 friends.
Yeah,
it won by a narrow margin. And
yeah,
now I'm not sure if it was the right choice, but it's just too late.
Cool. Band names are tricky. It's like you can come up with it's like Halloween costumes. Like you always come up with the best Halloween costume the day after Halloween.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like the very best. And I feel like it's the same way with band names. Like you can't, as soon as you need one, all you can think about is jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we had some really Deep Urkel was the one I wanted to go with.
Yes.
Yeah, I had some really good ones, but that's the one that sticks with me the most.
As a marketing person, now it's like, okay, what's Googleable? And and I always had the bad recipe of naming the band the Poison Control Center. So when you were doing and when somebody didn't like your album or whatever, it's like, oh my god, they need to call. Not only is this album
you handed it right too.
You got to set yourself up for
shit sandwich.
Yeah
Well, have you tried Googling circulatory system? Because back in the early 2000s, that was wrong.
Yeah. It still is, I think.
Well, and
The
that's the same thing with-
Instruments, Heather's
yeah.
group, The Instruments, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another one that's tough.
Yeah, the search engine optimization for the zombies is not as good as
Sure.
could be.
The ringing bell, the golden glass, you're warm again. I just want you to fall into the corner. I'm trying to protect you in the corner. I'm trying to protect you. You pay the price.
Yeah, but Heather and I, like we've done music together for a long time. We've got a lot of trust, so I think it's good for her to have somebody in her corner because she's in the big fancy world of it's cold-hearted out there in the television and movie production company.
Yeah, I
Like,
bet it
it's
is.
like it's like you put your heart into something, you better not put too much because they're gonna say I don't like this and I want it to sound just like the temporary music I made.
Or they're going to use 10 seconds of it.
Yeah, it's
Right.
that's a tough one. I gotta say I take a lot of inspiration from Heather. Kind of one of the reasons that we're prolific now like we are is because I've saw the truth of Heather's like reality. It's like, it's like just get in there and do it. You don't always have to be inspired. Every day something is going to come forward. You know what I mean? It may not always work, but if you go into the studio every day and make something happen,
Something
you're
great.
going to get
Yeah.
the ball is going to keep rolling. And honestly, like that's a big part of I think why we're
say so.
making things
Part
move
of- part
more
of the
quickly
method.
these days.
If only 10% of it is usable, that's still more than you had
Yeah.
yesterday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's if you got to look at the people who, and of course, the legacy that you've built is incredible as well. But if you look at somebody like a Prince or even like Jeff Tweedy as a similar Jeff Tweedy of Wilco,
Sure.
like wake up and make something attitude, and he's putting out a triple record this year. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
Wow.
and the amount of stuff that Prince had in the vaults when he passed away was something like 10 times what he ever released. What I mean, and so just that as a gift to the world, that you're just making something that wasn't there in the morning, and in the afternoon you have something that wasn't there. Like, what a gift.
I can't believe it around me. I can't believe it around me. My endless supply, it around me. It around me. They were my escape plan, never score outside. I can't believe it around
I'm kind of curious, just kind of like, well, in terms of how that you kind of started on it, talking about how the record was made, how you had all these songs and you're like deciding what to use, what to not use, and so forth. mean, I guess it's just such a unique situation of having this property where you can just go out to the barn and, the
Chop wood.
Chop wood if you want, or you can record an amazing album.
Well, this one was different. I actually contributed a lot more to the making of this record than I ever had
Absolutely.
before. I've never written a song before. I didn't write, like, I did a lot of the melodies. Maybe half, maybe less than half. I don't know. It was collaborative on a few, but it was the first time I've ever, my entire life, attempted to write anything, and I'm proud of the way they turned out. I didn't enjoy doing it. Thanks.
Well, it's interesting because Emily is kind of shy about being, maybe not in somewhere now. I think it's hard if you haven't been creating a bunch of stuff your whole life. Like just the concept of doing it is like incredibly like intimidating or whatever. But like, so when I was out, we did those 33 songs, and then we sort of like gestated that a little bit. And then the entire month of November, as I was getting ready to go on tour with Ladybugs in December, I spent the entire month of December recording drums on every single song, on the 33 songs.
Yeah.
So as a way of warming up and getting ready for the tour. You know what I mean? So just getting my chops back, So I did all the 33 songs on drums. And then I said, okay, while I'm on tour, Emily, I want you to all you have to do, it's not precious. Just grab your voice memo on your iPhone, go down to the studio, play the song on the PA, and just record what comes out on the microphone. And then later I'll look back at that and I'll be able to like grab some ideas out of, you know what I mean? It'll help. And it's like another brain scattering paint, right? Like that's the way, like, and it's like, if whatever hits the wall, occasionally you're like, oh, that's a cool pattern. And you grab that. And so like there was a lot of that came from that.
Well, and I will say I really hated it. It was very dark.
And it was
first
fucking
of all,
December.
It was December, which
2
is
days
my
after
least favorite month.
I left the day after Will died for that
Will
tour.
just died. The incident that had happened with the election had happened. It's quite dark, and I was really in a dark place when I wrote those melodies, and I think it shows.
Oh, I think it really does.
So but I can't remember. It's not very clear because it's like I would I would come down and I'd do my own process of scattering paint. Like I'd try not to listen to her thing first. I'd try to do my own thing, and then I'd compare and like see, okay, where now we've got two brains ideas working. And so like I can't remember if that came out of her or not, but I mean I definitely a lot of times even if I didn't necessarily like find inspiration in what she had come up with, I'd hear the range she was in. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, her voice wants to be here. And that's like...
Yeah, like all the previous music because you write, for me, like with Faster Circuits or with the first album, you write them for your voice.
Right, I'm all the way down,
I make it fit or we change it or whatever, but these actually were written with my range.
I mean, that was the thing with Marshmallow Coast and M Coast even, is like Andy and I were writing everything, and we're men and we're writing in a much lower range, and there'd be songs where it's like, oh, you sing this, and it's like, oh, well, this is fucking low as shit for me. You know what I mean?
Just do it on the octave.
So I try to be a lot more conscious of that this time around. But I mean, even on the first record, like Ignore the Flood as she sings, it's probably too low.
I got there.
You know what I mean? But it's like we probably would have had more fun if I'd pitched it up a couple keys.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, we did that too.
Anyway, the point is like those are like things you learn.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that was actually maybe not the best approach. So like, let's approach it differently.
And then I also wrote a lot of the lyrics, which is another first for me.
Yes.
And
what a relief.
I didn't care for that either. I got to say, I didn't like that. It was very stressful, but I'm really proud of what I did.
Can I ask you a question, Emily? When a band puts out a record and then you guys do some significant touring on it, did you kind of come home feeling more confident and more like that you wanted to be even more a part of the creative process?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I'm not an instrumentalist in any way. I mean, I chicken peck the keyboards and I choose sounds, and I've finally learned how to play a tambourine.
You have great taste. You're a huge huge component of the way this band sounds.
Well, like you say, I think my biggest contribution is having really great taste, which means I don't like anything.
It's so true. It's really the key.
Yeah, so I don't like it.
Well, talking about names too, I think the name of the album perfectly encapsulates the feel of the album.
Thanks.
And I think that
Awesome.
has to do probably with the timing of when you guys recorded this, because it was a very alarming time.
Indeed.
Yeah, like always.
Yeah.
Tired.
It feels very evergreen, at least
Yeah.
this year. It means in French, it means, sorry to interrupt it. What does it mean?
All to arms.
All to arms.
Yeah. But I'm not like trying to join a militia. It's not like that.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask, how many conversations did you guys have about including a U, and then in the word alarm? Were there any conversations where somebody told you should put a U before the M?
No.
No?
You're the first person.
Okay.
What?
How would you spell that?
Like ALARUM. I'm thinking of like if you were a prog band, you would have
That
like
would've
I think
been cool.
legally
Yeah,
had
it
to
would've
have a
been,
U
like,
in there.
A little bit like I want to be more pretentious.
Yes.
That was my New Year's
Yes.
resolution.
Yeah.
It's not been going well.
Yeah.
Still wearing sweats every day.
Is it painless? Is it that day? Devil dog.
When you're writing a song, when you say writing a song, are you now? This has always been a thing for me with people who have a studio. Their studio that they're going to record the album is at their fingertips, right? So it's
Sure.
sometimes like, am I really doing a demo or am I actually doing the song, right? Because and I know you guys live in patience, but sometimes you start falling in love with this demo you're creating, and it's just like, well, this is just kind of the song, right? So like
Right.
when you say you're writing a song, are you like getting some sort of line on a keyboard or guitar, and then you go and the drums are already set up, so you go and put some drums to it, and then all of a sudden song forms in like a day, and you have kind of like a thing that is like could be like done, or are you kind of like getting your phone out and what are you doing?
Okay, so yeah, for me, like I don't play every day, but I do play almost every day, like in the morning, right? And I'll sit there and I'll play around, and then, variably like guitar or piano or whatever. And I'll invariably come up with something like, "Ooh, that's cool. I'm gonna record that." And just like most people, like I've got now, it used to be dictaphones or whatever, but like I've got an iPhone voice memo, and I'll just make a little note of it, and then I try to remember to say, "Okay, you've got your finger," because it's never like just cowboy chords. It's always some weird structure, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, seventh fret, first finger, blah blah blah. Like, so I'll be able to come back to it later. And then so in October when I was doing those songs, I kind of went to that well, and I realized on the tour, because we went out and did this first record. It's like the first record, it was like built the same way, but it wasn't built from within what the band was.
We're at the live setup.
Yeah, the live setup. So we had to create a live setup to be able to do these things. And so like I've got like, analog drum machine and analog synth bass kind of stuff, like running stuff off. It's just literally just running MIDI sequences off Ableton. So like Ableton is like the brain that's like just playing these live instruments, and they're sort of like replicating what I did in the studio on the first record. So I was like, well, okay, well, let this time, now that we know what the band is, why don't I reverse engineer it? So I did all that stuff, and then I built it in Ableton, and then came down to the studio. Outside of the studio, like up in the living room, in our sitting room, we call it. And I just every morning would sit up in the sitting room with just like the basic like laptop and like a tiny little interface and like one microphone and a tiny keyboard and a guitar mic, you know what I mean? And just make the demo. And then I'd bring it down to the studio and play it through the system into the studio. And so that would be the basis. I did end up replacing a lot of those things,
Yeah,
but it came
very
from
like-
inside band brain. So it's funny because this time now, as we're going and learning all these songs for upcoming tours and all that kind of stuff, it's already in it's already in the band brain.
Easy.
Yeah, it's a lot easier. It's like coming together a lot easier. So
Yeah. I remember when you were writing songs for this, you were playing me a lot of stuff, and it was all acoustic guitar
Right.
jams, and
your kryptonite.
I was very worried.
Yeah.
I was
Emily's acoustic guitar is Emily's kryptonite,
I go red.
and it's driving. I really want to put acoustic guitar on things. So she always stops me.
I'm a disco diva. Yeah.
I've always loved a band that is kind of like a two-sided sword, where like the studio recording is one thing and the live show is another. Like Olivia's would be a perfect example of that. Like the studio thing is this holy grail pop avant-garde masterpiece thing, but then when it's on stage, it's a little more punk rock and sloppy and putting things together. But that's what I love about it. It's like it like makes it so on the edge, where like when bands get to the point where like after you've done a tour, like like and now Emily's bringing more of herself to the thing, and then and now you start thinking about like, well, how are we going to play these songs live even before you start making them? I think, does that make you make it different, or it just is another element that's just a part of the process?
It definitely feels more compact, I think. And I will say that these new songs, to me anyway, off the new record, are way more fun to play. I don't know why. Yeah, they're easier.
Right. Well, we're more conscious of, it's like you're back engineering the other thing, and this time we're front engineering it, if that makes sense. Like,
pretty cool.
It's yeah. I mean,
it still really works as a record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't be like, well, they just made it like this so they could play it live or something, or whatever.
It's process. When you process is what it is. It's like I figured out a process.
But is there any consideration for that in the writing process, though?
For which part?
For whether or not you're going to be able to replicate it in your live show.
I mean,
yeah.
Okay. Inherently, because of the way I built these, yes. But I will say there were a couple tunes where I was really wrapping my head against the wall. Like I was like, I cannot crack this code.
Which one?
Spite 28 really, I
yeah.
didn't think I was going to make it. Good Neighbor, I didn't think I was going to make it. Like I was just, remember, I couldn't figure him out. Like I couldn't get it. So eventually you kind of, New Hollow too, kind of. Like I was like, I had to stop thinking about that. So there are a few where we had to sort of like break away from that initial mold and really abstractly rebuild them again, but then you just bring them back into the system.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting. Like Ableton is like, a lot of people are recording and doing things on Ableton, but I feel like I'm using it in a slightly different way because I'm mainly using it to like control lights and video and just play the stuff I played on another instrument. You know what I mean? Like
From a like a guy who just likes sound and stuff, are you using a lot of, and other people who listen to this podcast would be interested in this. Are you using a lot of like analog gear? Are you using a lot of MIDI? Are you using?
It's all analog. Yeah, like nothing. I think okay. Everything is analog. So the demos, they only had kick and snare, bass, a basic bass synth line that I would write on keys at the time, guitar, and that's it. You know what I mean? And maybe occasionally like a separate keyboard line that I'd run on video. So like, on the record though, it's like that kick and snare are still there, but I'm overlaying real drums on it. The bass is almost 100% replaced by me actually playing real bass, and then sort of, I like to do I kind of learned this from Paul McCartney. I'd like to put bass on last, like after I've done all the other overdubs, as sort of now where are the holes and where can I like sort of find the center groove or whatever.
Well, that's really interesting to me because your works are very, very bass heavy.
Yeah, I always do it last.
It's interesting to me too, because to me, that's the thing that it doesn't feel like it's, and you're an incredible bass player. I'll just say that. Like your bass.
Thank you very much.
So good. But I think the thing that is unique to you from a mixing standpoint and from a bass playing standpoint, the licks or the grooves are so good, but they stand out. You mix them so well.
Thank you.
It's like they're almost living on their own, but yet holding things together. It's usually kind of the loudest thing in the mix from my point of view.
Yeah.
Or it's placed in the best spot. You know what I mean? It's like that's the thing you feel. And to me, like every time I hear one of your songs, or even like some of the bass stuff that you've done on other people's records, I'm like, oh my God, it's just like mixed so well.
Thank you.
That's why you can even hear what you're doing.
I'll tell everybody my trick if they want to know how to get bass to speak really loud in it.
You got to tell Mutt Lange too.
I certainly didn't create this.
Mutt Lange doesn't have the bass stick out like you do.
No, I'm not. That is just one name on the board.
Written the biggest. So.
It's first out of the same size.
What's your secret?
We went to the Bedford County, as a quick aside to the story, we went to the Bedford County Fair this past week to try to capture some video because we had to make videos to like promote and all this kind of
That's
stuff.
awesome.
I was like, I'm going to get some carnival videos at night, right?
We went to the demo.
Yeah, and we luckily got the Demolition Derby, which I got some video. We got some video of it. It was very hilarious. But
cool.
But there was a country band playing, and like they were like we were sitting there, and we were like getting a snack while they were like setting up and doing their like, it's a country cover band, and they're like walking around. The bass player's like walking around like with his wireless bass, walking around to like listen to the mix and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, it sounds good, guys. I just think you know what you need is you need just a little 500, 600, 650, 700 hertz, because it's like the nose element. That nose element pushes a bass up in the mix in a way, then you have to like find the spot, but it makes it sit in a way that like you can kind of hear it all the time. It's like it lets you hear the notes. It's not like thuddy like low stuff. It's like the stuff that lets you hear what's happening. You know what I mean? I've learned that back in the Montreal days.
What was your last album with Montreal?
Old Hill.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we just we did an episode on Coca-Cola with Andy.
Oh yeah. Cool.
That,
I haven't heard that.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not out yet.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Anderson.
I think the bass on that record is really cool. And I saw you guys on tour on that record.
Did we play with? Well, I know we played with you guys multiple times. Did we play with you on that tour?
I don't think you guys played with us on that tour. I came up to the 7th Street entry in Minneapolis and watched you.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I actually walked.
Was that the one where I got enraged?
No, you were in a pretty good mood.
Somebody was throwing ice at me
Oh,
What,
at a show at
continuous?
7th Street Entry.
I remember
Yeah,
having
like
a really good conversation with you.
I kind of cracked on stage at the 7th Street Entry once
Yeah,
because somebody was throwing ice at me. It was like at a Montreal show, and I probably had some whiskey, and I was like, "Who's fucking throwing ice at me?"
I don't think it was that show. I remember talking to you about you working on surround sound mixes of Montreal stuff at the time or something. And I was like, oh my God, I want to hear that. And you're talking about like how you think you could have done the gay parade, you could have mixed the gay parade better and all that stuff. And you know, from like a fanboy guy, I'm just like, oh fuck, I gotta hear this mix better.
You know, that's funny. I did do. I had just gotten a new computer set up, and like back then, like we literally just had a 2-track computer input. You know what I mean? It's like we were using 8-track and 16-track tape machines, but like it's like we're just mixing in stereo. You know what I mean? So Coco, just FYI, I don't know if it came up in your interview, like the way that was worked was we would record sections and sections and sections on tape, and then I would edit them together on the computer. So it's like if it's a drastic change mid-song, that's because it's literally a completely different recording, and then we would balance that. You know what I mean? And it was like the early days of those kind of just super basic, like, I mean, the most dumb like level of editing, right? You know, when I talked to you, I must have just gotten my first 8 in, 8 out. And I was like, oh, now I can record. And like all of Gay Parade was done on an 8-track machine. So I had like transferred all the tapes. And at the time I was like, I'm going to remix this and just make it cleaner in the sort of George Lucas-y spirit that we'd already done a couple things. They'd already done a Cherry Peel remix and a Bird Who Eats remix or whatever. Yeah, I mean, at the time, I remember kind of laughing.
Became
at
the
it. It's
bird
like,
who continues to eat.
Add things? That seems kind of funny. It's like one thing to remix it. It's like another thing to like add little computer animals running around, which I feel like those ended up with. But right,
did Han shoot first at the bird?
Yeah,
or,
I mean,
no?
but so I did mess with remixing Gay Parade back then, and someone anonymously did put it up on YouTube, and I think it was Brian Poole.
You're gonna call
Just FYI.
So it's on there?
Oh,
I never signed off or finished. I
Sneaky
for all
bastard.
I know, I don't remember ever finishing it, but somehow recently it came to my attention that it exists on YouTube.
these are some
There's the
allegations,
remix
Derek.
version on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I
I
think
got something to do tomorrow, I guess.
Waking up in your dreams. 1 minute closer to midnight. All I hear, the ticking hand. All I hear, the ticking hand. What am I to you? What am I to you? You can't stop progress.
So back to Alarm. What kind of tour are you guys doing to support the record? And are you coming to Detroit?
We don't have a Detroit show right now.
Well-
We have Windsor, though.
Oh,
Can you get across the border?
They still let you do that?
you know, that's doable.
You know, yeah, we made friends with this guy, Sean Dudenberg, in Windsor, who's a promoter at this club called the Meteor, which is cool. And we played there once before, and so we're returning to that place. But yeah,
I
it's
do.
literally
I
just
do.
like right across. I mean, it's, you know, if you know Windsor, It's
Yeah.
depending on your border transfer, it's a 5-minute drive.
So we've got some dates in October. We're opening for Black Moth Super Rainbow in 3 southern cities, which is very cool. We're excited about that. And then we're kind of spurring off from that. We end up in Atlanta, and we're gonna do Athens, and I don't know, we got Charlotte, and then we've got some like little dates here and there. We've got Windsor and Chicago, and Bloomington,
Yeah,
Indianapolis,
Indianapolis.
and
Good little southern run before that.
popping up to Pittsburgh every now and then.
Yeah, got the Pittsburgh show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean
We're always working on it. We don't have a booking agent yet, so it's always like pulling teeth, but we're working on it.
yeah. If you're a booking agent who loves this podcast, please contact us.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's tough, man. It's like you have more access to be able to do it yourself, and yet also it's also harder.
Yeah.
So this is the stuff that I'm a studio music guy. Like a lot of the
This and like
keeping the
the
band
social
moving and
media
doing all this other stuff. Oh man,
taking pictures of yourself.
Never wanted to be involved in this part of it, huh?
yeah, it's
I
rough.
like this part. I just don't like the
This is
the
fun.
photographs.
Yeah,
I like talking about myself. That's fun.
yeah.
Don't Bother Wearing Seatbelts will return in 2 weeks with Chris McKay of the WoW collective band Mindfield about the new release, The Price of a Wish. And while we're at it, we should mention that following us on social media and signing up for our Patreon for absolutely free keeps you in the know on everything we have going on. Better yet, signing up at the $1 level or higher not only helps us keep the proverbial lights on, it also makes you eligible for some truly interesting giveaways each month. For example, we're currently giving away a vinyl copy of the new Giant Day release that's being discussed. Until the next episode, listen to great music and do what brings you joy and fulfillment.